Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Ms. Brielle Biermann.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. How are you? Where are you? I know you've been traveling, so I'm not going to assume that you're in Atlanta. I have to ask where you are.
Oddly, I am in Atlanta just for the night. I'm leaving tomorrow and I'll be gone for like 12 days. But I'm in Atlanta right now. I just got home actually from another trip. It's nice to be back for a day. I've had so much going on today. I'm so super busy. So I'm really excited to chat with you and kind of take my mind off of all the bullshit I have to go through today.
Isn't it nice to be able to travel again? Like I saw you were in Hawaii and then I think you were in the Caribbean, but I could just be making that up. But I've started traveling again too. Like I'm having it.
Yeah, it's 2020 was a rough year, I think, for everybody. I don't think anybody had a good 2020. So I'm really excited to get back to traveling and living my life again because that's like my true passion is getting on a flight and getting out of here as often as I can.
Well, I have to say, so when I sat down to prepare for this chat, like my mouth dropped open in the sense that I don't know what I was thinking, but 13 years since you started on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I mean, does it feel, because 13 years is insane. Like, does it feel like a long time to you, or does it feel like just yesterday?
No, it definitely feels like a long time, especially because I started when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So I really got to grow up on TV. Everything's pretty much recorded. I always say that Don't Be Tardy and Real Housewives of Atlanta is kind of like having my own personal homemade footage. So, because I probably wouldn't have recorded anything like that growing up. My mom wasn't one of those moms who like had a recorder and took videos of everything we did. So I'm really happy that I have those moments there and that I can hopefully show my family one day and my potential kids. Um, it does not seem that long ago though. I mean, it feels like just yesterday, but at the same time, so much has changed and gone on that it's like clearly it's not.
I agree with all that. I am from Connecticut originally. I live in New York City now. Shout out to Connecticut, and I'm from Orange, so I think you were right from there, right? Weren't you from like Shelton or one of those areas?
I was born in Stafford Springs, but my mom was raised in Windsor Locks.
That's what it is. Do you remember like any time in your life before the cameras were there? Like I have no memory of childhood. I don't know what that means. I mean, I was bullied in high school and I think I've just blocked it out, but I can't tell you how I was at 10 or even like 12. Like, do you remember no cameras being there or it's always cameras?
I remember before the cameras were a thing, of course, but I think that it wasn't really like a big shift for me. My mom was like super beautiful, blonde hair. She was young and she had like nice cars and wore, Chanel everywhere. So everywhere we went, people were already looking at her like, who is this woman? I mean, she's got huge tits, so they're always out, big blonde hair. I mean, I would stop and stare too. So, things didn't really change except people started to know her name.
So it was kind of like life as usual.
I mean, honestly, in the beginning, I didn't know. I really didn't know what to expect. I mean, I was 10 years old. I didn't really understand it. I wasn't allowed to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. I still haven't really watched it. I've seen scenes here and there, but like I refuse to like watch it because I know how, reality TV is. And I know it's definitely not the true person that my mom is. So I don't want to get any inkling or, a changed view of
Perception.
perception on my mother. Thank you. I couldn't find the word. The changed perception of my mom because she truly is remarkable. But no, I mean it's. I didn't know any better. I still don't know any better. I always say I feel like I'm Hannah Montana. Like some people know who I am and some people love it and some people don't care or have no idea who I am. So I'm not like, I can go out and do my own thing, but it's also cool when someone recognizes you.
And you've never really sat down and watched like a full season or episode of RHOA?
No, during quarantine, actually, when I was finally allowed to like go see my friends again, when we thought it was like okay, we went to my friend Colin's house. Me and like my three best friends were all there, and we were watching movies. And then when the movie ended, we were like, you know what we should do? We should just go and watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. None of us have ever seen it, so we were like, All right, tuned into the first episode and we could not stop dying laughing. I think we rewatched that first episode like 5 times and we never watched another one because my mom had this like strong country accent and I'm like, who is this woman? Like, where did this come from? And she like was chain smoking all the time. So she just sounded completely different. So now we just make fun of her and we always say, you love it, you know you do. She gets so mad at us because I'm like, you never sounded like that. I don't even remember that. And she's like, fuck you guys.
You're like, where is this accent coming from?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that Kim.
Did you think like everyone, like when did you realize your childhood might be a little different? You know, like just in terms of the cameras, like, or did you think, you know, like you talk about like just on the Kardashians, they were like, oh, we need to explain to like Rain, you know, and Mason that like not everyone grows up with cameras. Like, did you think there was cameras in every household or did you realize your upbringing was like different in
No,
that sense?
I remember I was in like 4th or 5th grade and my mom was going to be on the show and some kids in my school, I was like telling them about it. I was like, oh, we're going to be on some TV show. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're lying. And then she finally got on it and I went to a private school and everybody there was like, oh my God, she's like on TV sometimes. So they thought it was cool. But really where we grew up in Alpharetta, there's like a lot of other, either celebrities' children's that we grew up with, or like, like the Chrisleys are from here. I grew up with them. Like there's just like a lot of different people who kind of come from some type of background in the entertainment industry. So it wasn't like totally weird or shocking, that was happening. I also did it when I was like in middle school, like starting middle school. So I had more of like a grasp of what was going on than maybe Ariana, who was only 5 years old at the time.
That makes a lot of sense. When you look back at like those RHOA years, like, is there a highlight, even though you haven't watched the show, just from your memory, like, is there like a best of, and is there like a worst moment that you just are like, oh,
I would say the best of is probably the moment where my mom met Kroy, because that changed our life and is the best thing that's ever happened to us. So that Dancing with the Stars Atlanta version episode is probably the best part of Real Housewives of Atlanta. The worst is probably all the petty bullshit fights and drama, which I know everybody lives for, but it's so different seeing your mom be attacked constantly and over again. I think that's why like I just don't want to watch it. I'm not interested in seeing it. Actually, probably the worst to me is she was pregnant and they were attacking her, saying, like, oh, she's not due when she is, or I don't even know the context of the conversation, but I remember my mom saying, fuck this, I'm done. She got up and she called me and I was crying and I was like, please don't ever go back to Real Housewives in Atlanta. I was like, quit. And she did. And she didn't know she was going to do Don't Be Tardy. She didn't have that lined up or anything like that. She just quit, said, fuck it, I don't need this. And then they offered her own show. So sometimes walking away from some situation that has really molded or changed your life may be the best thing you could have done.
it's true. I mean, not to make a reference to a party, but like you don't want to be the last one at the party. You kind of want to leave,
Yeah.
right? Did she